We are live to discuss this weekend's episode of SNL. I'm Marina, this is Madeline, and we have our very special guest co-host, Georgie Aldaco. And we also have a live chat now, which maybe we had before, but we're trying to figure out some of the logistics of the Substack of it all. But anyway, we're so excited to chat through this weekend's episode of SNL. Madeline has her amazing Substack, My Comedy Fantasy. And Georgie, you have seen her writing all over the place. The Onion, Inside Amy Schumer, all over the place. All of us have taught sketch at UCB for many, many years as well. And basically, when you are a teacher at UCB, you encourage people to like go see sketch shows and learn from them and talk about them. And there, sketch shows usually are in small theaters where it's hard to kind of compare notes because there's just limited audiences. But SNL is a sketch show that we can all watch and talk about and learn from together. So that's what we're going to be doing. So, guys, I'm really excited to chat through this episode with you. What were your initial vibe check of this episode? What's the initial vibe check?
Oh, me or Matt?
Yeah, I did you, Georgie.
Vibe check of the episode. Trying to be measured about this. I think Melissa McCarthy is such a great performer. So I feel a little shortchanged.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair, reasonable assessment.
My vibe check of this one is that it was a real live sketch show where sometimes I think some of these things that they planned seemed really funny on paper or really funny in the room during the read. And a combination of things like timing, some not perfect prop working outings, a little bit of a weird audience moment here and there just kind of equaled a less funny episode than I was hoping for given the host.
Yes, I think that also feels right to me. I felt like the energy felt a little weird this episode. It felt a little quiet to me, both from performance-wise and from the audience. Like it just felt generally kind of a little off and quiet to me. There were some really fun standout moments, but I agree. I think that it felt like in translating to the specific venue of SNL, it feels like things got lost that might actually have worked out really great if it were in an underground theater, like that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to dig into all of it because as is often the case when the show isn't like a fantastic show, there's so many teachable moments. And I feel like there were a lot of teachable moments in this one. So without further ado, should we jump into the cold open?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, let's do it. So yeah. All right. So Pete Hegseth kind of like basically being a bro at the at a a press briefing where he doesn't want to give any information about the strikes that happened. So yeah, let's talk about this one a little bit. What kind of stood out to you guys?
I feel incredibly confused about this one because as we've talked about before, I think the thing about nailing a topical character like Pete Hegseth, geez Louise, I don't even want to say it, is having a really specific game. And I think Colin is flirting with a specific game for him, which Marina said is bro. So I'm like, it almost kind of should work, but there's just something about the performance that is so depressing to me that I could not, I was on guard the whole time. And yeah, I think it's weird. It seems like it almost was gamey, but it wasn't actually. And it really, I thought got the episode off on a sad foot.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Because like it seems like it should be pretty simple. Like I thought that the label of the 12-year-old playing Army felt like a really good, like that feels like a clean label and like an interesting label to go off of, that paired with the broishness. But I feel like they keep on dipping into the alcoholism game, which feels like a little different from that. What do you think, Georgie? What was like what were your thoughts?
I haven't like been watching as regularly, so this is the first time I see Colin do this impression or this whatever this is. Sorry, that sounded shady. Whatever.
But no, I think you're right though. It isn't. It's weird.
Yeah. It just feels like mean Colin to me sometimes. That's what it feels like. I think that it is for me. Just I didn't mind it. I kind of like. I thought it was fun enough. But it does feel like it's just aggro boy, which feels very broad to me.
Yeah.
So if you are like trying to heighten it in a specific way, it does make it a little bit hard, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And general, like, the aggro boy of it all and it's actually kind of interesting because now I'm thinking back to, like, the Sean Spicer character that they had a while ago, which was Melissa McCarthy, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
And was very funny.
And was very funny. But it was like this it was a little bit more specific. It was obviously a different type of aggro, but it felt so much more specific. And in theory, this sort of should be a a specific slam dunk because it's just like somebody being bro-ish, but about top military secrets. Like you would think that would sort of lend itself to something really direct and clear. But it does feel like it just keeps on getting like a little watered down. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like they're really not. It feels like they're kind of still floundering to like figure out what the best and most specific thing to do with this character is, who's already kind of a parody of himself. That's the thing that's tricky. Is it's like it's hard to. You have to be really, really intentional about the character game that you're playing on top of somebody who is such a self-parody. And I think that they're still not totally nailing that.
Yeah. There was also they had to get Trump on again, right? And the game about 2/3 of the way through started veering into he loves Trump, but that was only just to get the Trump appearance. So I felt like the weight of that collapsed whatever little game that they were having Colin play to begin with, and that really didn't help.
Yeah.
So like taking sketches in later beats and focusing them further away from your lack of game, like really isn't great for the game.
The Trump coming in felt like I was kind of happy to see him only because I was like, oh, this is like running its course and like I need the new thing. And if the new thing has to be like a new character, I feel like your first one probably wasn't as strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great observation. And you love, famously, Georgie loves seeing Trump.
Love Trump impressions. Oh my God, cannot get enough.
Can't get enough of that guy. No, totally. I totally hear you though. I think that I feel like there's sometimes there are elements of sketches where it's like, oh my gosh, you admit it.
He admits it, which is that's a different sketch, a great sketch. He admitted it.
Yeah. Oh my God, he admitted it. Yeah, I think you should leave, which comes up. Yeah, that's a great one. Whenever you do see a sketch sort of like kind of having this quiet confession that like, I don't know what to do next. And there were a few of those in this episode, I think. It does feel like that is the sketch that comes to mind for sure. Yeah.
I really enjoyed Trump having sexy dreams about Mamdani.
Could that not have jokes been in that thing? Yeah. The whole thing? Trump having sex dreams about Mamdani?
I think I would have preferred
that. Yeah, I think that basically what we're all kind of getting to is just there's something kind of tired about just the way they're depicting Pete Hegseth. It's like a little too broad. It feels like a little non-committal. And I think that there's a world where it will become more specific, but until then, the thing you're really latching onto is just like the joke sort of versus like the kind of the overall spirit of the game, if that makes sense.
And I don't think it could be overstated what Marina said before, is that like alcoholism is not a joke.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I think that there's a world where all of the things that they're doing, like the kind of like the adoration of Trump, the intensity, the aggro-ness, like even the drinking parts, like all that could be more specifically contained if you buttoned this up more tightly as like bro. And it's still just kind of slippery. It's still not really doing that. So I think this is a great example of something that like just needs like a few more tightenings of the screws in order to actually work, but just still hasn't quite soared to me.
Even if they had like a weird reason, like I don't mind watching somebody be mean if there's like some weird reason they keep coming back to, like, because I never got to rent, I don't know, home fries at the Blockbuster or something. I don't know, whatever, some dumb shit. If you just keep coming, if there's that just weird reason you keep coming back to and like broaden, telling us that story, I wouldn't mind it as much. But now I'm just seeing a mean man.
Yeah, yes, I love that. I think that's exactly right. We're just watching a mean man, right? And so, I think that's exactly right.
That's
I love
what
that
it
we're
is.
doing it. I think that nailed it. I think should we just move on to the monologue now? I think this was interesting because the monologue, okay, I did not like this monologue. I think that but here's what I will say about this monologue. This monologue, the way in which it didn't work because it was a weak sketch. So in that sense, it is something that is productive for us to talk about. Like there are some weeks where the monologue is stand up and then it's like, we'll just skip over it. But this week, I think the way the monologue didn't work was that it was a sketch that was too unspecific. So anyway, that's my sort of like overall thought, but I'd love to turn it over to you guys. Like Georgie, what were your takes on this kind of monologue and like what did or didn't work about it for you?
I did not like this monologue at all. I don't know, the mouth horn thing, it felt a little like even cringy to me where I was like, it just felt like the first, when you're writing a bunch of like, I have to come up with 10 ideas tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That felt like one of those the first one that you came up with. It just feels like they're so near Christmas, so they got like some sort of like Christmas like tie-in, but Christmas is like such an easy topic. I think like everybody loves a Christmas show, like it's like so easy to get into it. So it just felt a little, the first draft to me.
Yeah.
I think even just structurally too, it could have easily saved itself. The mouth horn thing is interesting. So if they were going to do the sketch as it was, which is sort of like setting up and I thought Melissa McCarthy was doing a really good job of setting up like this wonderful, cozy Christmas time. And like, here's something that's not very Christmassy. Like, if that's the pattern you want to set up, okay. I believe that SNL and Melissa McCarthy could come up with like a pretty funny version of that. But then it was the mouth horn was, I think, unfortunately underwhelming. I do wonder if that was something that was much funnier in a small room. But her doing it Melissa McCarthy wasn't even making that funny. So it just didn't work. Then it switched, right? It like switched kind of what the idea was completely, even though
The
it was
lots
still
of snow thing, right?
Cozy. Yeah. The lots of snow thing I thought like could have been its own thing. But that didn't build on the idea or subvert the idea of mouth horn in any way.
Yeah.
And then they just basically went back to piano and mouth
right.
horn.
I think there was something they were starting to tease of like the production team sort of doing overzealous Christmas.
Or Melissa McCarthy wanting it to be overzealous.
Right.
It was being a little rude to the production design team, so they were getting her.
Yes.
Like
it was
none
tangled.
of it was clear and it kept switching.
Totally.
So it did not work.
You could imagine a version where like they're setting up that like the production team is mad at Melissa McCarthy, so they're like blasting her with snow, they're pushing this piano, they're whatever. You can imagine a version where Melissa McCarthy is trying to have a normal Christmas thing and then everything is going kind of haywire but it felt like there was sort of a murky point of view thing, and it felt just like I think it felt a lot of it kind of wound up feeling a little cheesy, like, oh no, I'm being pushed on a piano, like, oh no, I'm covered with snow, like it felt a little bit. Sometimes your sketches almost feel like you're just watching like a kid play make believe, and I think that was I was sort of like left with, which is a shame because she's such an amazing comedian. So I just feel like there was such a lack of specificity in this one that, again, is very, very teachable, but was kind of disappointing as a Melissa McCarthy fan. Yeah.
That's the only time we also got Marcelo in the episode, right? I think that's the only time he came out.
Oh, yeah. I think.
Also a shame.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was really strange. And this was the first one where I was like, this feels sleepy to me. Like something energetically feels off. Like we're struggling to generate new beats here in any sort of organic way. And I think that was a problem that cropped up a few times in this episode with other sketches too. It just felt like, okay, it's okay, what else? It was kind of like,
what else we got?
Yeah.
What can we link together?
Yeah.
Snow and mouth horn and piano is not in the right spot.
Yeah, it's really, that felt like a bit of a struggle to me.
Yeah, putting three funny things together isn't enough.
It's not enough. And I think that you can absolutely imagine a version of this where by aligning the intention behind them or the point of view behind them, you could absolutely wind up with like a clear game, a clear sketch. But without it, you kind of have to figure out what is the character of the environment that's leading to these three unusual things. In a way, it's one way to think about it. And they all just felt kind of disconnected from each other.
Do you guys know what Melissa McCarthy's past cold opens were?
She has maybe the funniest cold open I've ever seen, which is she came out wearing really high heels and just like
Oh, yeah.
kept eating it. And that was a really, really, really good one.
Okay, yeah, I remember. She's like a really great physical comedian. You just have to give her a little bit of something,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So
something has to be something.
yeah, it has to be something. But I think that this one just felt a little floppy. Um, should we go to the next one? Okay, this is the free sample sketch. So, a woman thinks that guy offering free samples is like kind of like she takes it as a sign that he's not, I don't know, coming on to her. Or lonely woman making too much meaning out of receiving a free sample, I guess, is how I would really characterize it. What were your guys' thoughts on this one?
I thought it was not surprising enough, for me. I thought it needed bigger moves.
Yeah,
For sure, bigger moves. I just needed something that was, like, not as lateral as it was.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and I think Melissa McCarthy is so great at playing those, like, pathetic people that you just, like, love.
Hmm.
So she can give you like, you can go really pathetic with her, and it just felt like we weren't, like, digging into the meat of her patheticness and why she was like that.
Yeah. It was there were some fun, like, specifics about the patheticness, but it all felt very, like you said, like, energetically felt very, like, lateral to me. Yeah, there were just and it was felt like, yeah, it felt very lateral. Just didn't feel like it was really heightening in many ways.
There was something really off about the stage picture of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting that this was like a first sketch of the night. Like there were really no like I don't think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but like game show sketches or like typical SNL, like we got out the big set sketches. And it was so strange to watch like the shopping carts cross each other and kind of how closely cropped the camera was. And I
Yeah.
felt like it wasn't giving Melissa McCarthy room to be like physically pathetic with this character, which like might have been a way to heighten or
Yeah.
make it more surprising. It just it like what Marina, what you're saying is everything felt low, small and low energy. I was like, even just the blocking on this one was
Yeah.
oddly small. Just as like that's not really a sketch writer's hat, but a director's hat. And that but it was just it really stood out to me how strange that was.
Yeah.
I did
Totally.
like the dogs thing. The
That
dogs
was
were
very funny,
funny.
yes. That was, like, where the specificity became fun. That was where a moment where I felt like, "Oh, it's digging deeper into this character,"
Yeah.
like, in a way that I'd been missing for the first, like, half or so of the sketch. I think the one question I wanted to chat about with you guys is, like, Jordy, what you said about, like, playing the sort of, like, low status character. I was curious if, like, I was curious on, like, what would the, like, overconfident version of this character look like in this sketch? Like, just, sometimes you have a premise, like, person who it takes it, like, who reads too much into the free sample they've received. Like, you could imagine there's the low status version, but then I could also imagine the sort of, like, high status version, like, "Oh, well, thank you." And, like, kind of being, like, excessively cocky and confident around it. Like, what would that look like? What are the pros and cons of, like, one approach versus another here? What do you think?
Like a you love me.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gave me free cheese. I know what that means. Like that
Sorry,
kind of
ladies,
thing.
he's taken. Like that kind, yeah. Like what? I don't know. I guess I was just kind of curious because I think because the energy felt so weird, I was like, I wonder if this is a problem of like a low energy character.
I was thinking she was maybe too sad and
I
too
think so.
honest.
I think so too. That was my initial read as well.
I think, yeah, if it was like I think the "You Want Me" version would be like also including we cannot. I know like I attract all these like free sample people. Every time I go to a grocery store, I'm always given these free samples. But we cannot. I'm sorry for my magnetism.
Yeah. I I think that
That's
is
so funny if she just thinks that's what going grocery shopping is. I can't go to Costco.
People are always trying to give me free food at these stores. Like I cannot.
I feel like that's kind of more that feels more fun to me, and it's like it's maybe that's an annoying thing to say about a sketch because like yeah, a sketch could go any million number of ways, but I think that because this one the problem felt that it was like a little predictable, plus the energy was low, plus it was like playing a little extra sad. I do think that at least having that character play like a higher energy like the over like cockiness, like I think that might have helped a bit for me.
Higher energy sad is a nice combination too. Though like she has that character where she was the Vanna White filling in, and she's like so bad at it, and she's like so like there's a moment there where she's like everybody's thinking about me, and then the hater says, "Nobody's thinking of you." And she says, "Why not?" And it's just like so sad and crushed. That yeah, if it was this lady in like a higher energy, but still with that internal sadness, I think it could be fun also.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something maybe about having the person I forget the actor's name in the cheese giver
Oh,
role.
Oh,
I
Jeremy
don't know.
something.
So sorry, sir. You were very funny. I thought you were doing a great job.
Yeah.
But I wonder if like that character is almost also too low stakes, like as the point of the voice of reason character, because like what could he really like? He's a guy giving out free samples. He has no authority. He has like almost there's nothing to play off of there in a
Yeah.
sense. I wonder if there was a way you could adjust his voice of reason charactering to not
Yeah.
voice of I'm trying not to say straight man, guys.
Yeah.
What if he could have straight man that in a different way and that would have made it
It could maybe upped his
different?
frustration a little bit. Like it did feel like it was kind of even keeled the whole time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And I think it's really unusual to give the note, like, I think the voice of reason character needs to voice of reason harder. Like, usually the problem is that you need to dial them back a little bit, if anything. But I agree. I feel like this was, I think basically I was just like kind of craving dynamic in this scene, and there just wasn't much. It felt very, like, this also felt a little bit of like a character monologue that was scenified after the fact too, which I don't know if that was necessarily the case, but it felt like it had some of the same issues that sketches that are that have. That's what
I
I'm.
think there's maybe something in like we've all been on teams where there's like an actor who's like really great and you can trust them with anything and you just have to give them a little bit. So you just like you can like you there are like situations where maybe they're like people get used to that and they give them like just they're like it's fine, he'll carry it through. Or she'll carry it through.
I think that might
And
be.
that happened here.
I think that might be what it was for a lot of these. Yeah. And I think that sounds right to me, honestly. I just feel like with this one, it's a great example of like just maybe needing to figure out where the energy is coming from. It felt very, as Georgie said, felt very like a lot of lateral moves. So I think that this is a good one to look to for it's a clear character game, but like and a clear game, but it needs a little bit more. That was the issue with this one. It just needed more heightening, more variation to kind of actually play this harder. Should we move on to the
Writers,
next
don't
one?
get used to your great actors.
Yeah, writers don't. Yeah.
Don't just rely on your great actors.
Yeah. But I do think that is a really great teachable thing, actually. Because I remember feeling this way sometimes where it's like, no, but if someone were performing it, it will be really good. And it's like, that might be true, but it's also like not enough. Like make sure that you're giving them something, like something else to do. Okay. Should we talk about the next one is the video sketch, the lending a hand one, the one with the the elderly neighbor next door who has like a sick way of reciprocating the nice little favor. It's really a parody of this type of Christmas ad, basically like the cheesy Christmas ad. Anyway, what jumped out for you guys in this one? What was ups, downs?
I think we got ahead of it.
Yeah.
I think I think I just got ahead of it. Like I knew it was gonna be a gun. I thought it was gonna be a gun, and it was a gun.
Yeah.
And then the last move didn't make a lot of sense to me. Uh, I couldn't tell why that happened. Uh, but yeah, I think the biggest problem was that I just got ahead of it, and also they've done this like setup before, where like you look across the window and you see a lonely old person. There's the Kate McKinnon run, right? I think that some kid invites her for a Thanksgiving or something, and then she ends up like being some sort of like sex freak or something. And that was funny. I didn't get ahead of that one.
Yeah.
But this felt like I just got ahead of it too quickly.
Yeah. I felt like it took a little too long for what it was, maybe. That was sort of like my overall vibe. I like the idea of it. I just felt like the specifics for what it does could have been more fun too. And also I think the heightening was a little bit off to me.
A gun is not weirder than hog tying an adult with a bullseye drawn on his chest with a pile of snowballs. That's so weird, a gun is like, okay.
Yeah.
I would have minded with that, the hog tying stuff, if you just like dealt with any of the consequences of any of the moves. If they come out and go, what the fuck did you like? Why'd you do that? That's crazy. Like just living in that moment, just breaking the whole niceness. And she's like, that's what you wanted. We were doing a thing.
Yeah.
Like I do a nice thing for you. You do a nice thing for me. Like I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah, I think that in a way that one could have benefited from actually pulling back from a more traditional structure of like beat, right? Like I feel like we could have actually like lived in that a little bit longer.
And it wasn't a commercial parody. Like there's no reason you couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, how would you describe what this was a parody of, though? Because I feel like there is this type of commercial. It's like the like, but yeah, it's not selling a product. It's like a holiday PSA parody, kind of.
I just think it's like a holiday trope from movies, books, and commercials.
Okay, so a little bit broader.
It's like a holiday. The way it's the editing and music.
Yeah.
It does feel commercial to me. Like it is something very, very commercial to it. And they'll just, in the holidays, they'll have this and then they'll just run their product at the very end. Like, so remember to drink Nestle for those holiday moments or whatever.
Short film with an ad at the end.
Yes. I think that's exactly right. Yes. I think what I think is fun and teachable in this one is, because I think people laughed at it. It was fun in some ways, right? I think it would be very interesting as an assignment to basically lop the sketch off at the moment where the old lady sees him being bullied, and then like, what is your version of the sketch after that, right? Like, we know that the base reality is this like reciprocal thing between neighbors that we see around the holidays, but like there's so many places it could go after it and so many different ways the sketch could have played out. I think that would be a fun exercise for students. Like, what would your version of this setup be, basically? Or after the setup, what would your fun version of it be? So I don't know. I feel like it felt like a little slow, and as you said, Georgie, like a little bit predictable. Like we knew that there was going to be a gun that showed up, and it did. And yeah, it just felt like the specifics maybe weren't quite clever enough.
What's a good sketch that like starts in this moment, but it is more a commercial parody? That one with Beck, right? Where the car commercial, I gave you a car for Christmas, and then they call him on why did you buy a car?
Yeah, right.
And then you just sit in that and you just like learn buying all this other shit.
Yeah, I think that's right. I feel like maybe that's where the sketch could, like, it would have been interesting to see the sketch, like sort of the sketch part of it fall apart after the first things, and just instead of again having multiple beats, just live in that reality. Like a little bit more of an I think you should leave vibe almost.
Just
I
deal
think
with the consequences of what happened. First move was.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that first move then probably could have been even more egregious or something. But yeah. Should we move on to the next one? Okay, great. Okay, the next one is the UPS one. So this I think is I'm very interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So UPS driver being disciplined for basically like messing up a specific customer's stuff. I don't know. Let's chat about this one.
I liked this one, but I do think that it was because it was Melissa McCarthy. Like, I don't think there was a lot of writing in it, really. But I didn't mind it because it was, I think a lot of the things that she did were very funny to me. Oh, my thing just said my internet connection is unstable. So if anything happens, that's what happened.
We won't send the police if anything happens. We'll know it's just the internet connection.
It's my neighbor across the street who I did a nice thing for.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had a fun time watching her do stuff, and I did laugh in this. It wasn't a strong game, I don't think, but they got away with it this time because she is such a good performer.
Yeah.
I was pretty let down by every beat. Like I kept waiting for her to have some more specific kind of character. Like I think I was let down because I was really ready for this to be Barb Kellman pizza eater. Yeah. Like I think it maybe was even in the same set. Like at first I was like, it's Barb Kellman, and it wasn't. And when it was just like she was mad at the rich people, but I wasn't sure why. Maybe I wasn't. Was there ever a reason she was upset at these people specifically other than they were
She tripped in the beginning over
their pavers?
yeah, something like that.
I just was so to me it was really unspecific for a
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy character. And I couldn't I found every successive beat more and more boring.
Yeah. I think that to me, the sub game of her like trying to get out was the really fun part. Like that was
Funny,
the part I
yeah.
loved. I would almost just like take out all of the specifics around why she was in trouble and just replace that with literally anything that was more specific. Because I think that
And
like
why have these videos when you have Melissa
yeah.
McCarthy on stage?
Yeah, I think that's such a shame. It really does. Like, it feels like you could have the videos, but just like, what is a more interesting and specific and like character revealing thing for this person to be doing than just like messing up their stuff? Because I think that basically that just kind of gets tired. But watching the character like evade responsibility is fun. But like, there's the like basically like maybe like 3/5 of the sketch is actually spent on just like watching her mess up stuff at the door, which is just like kind of uninteresting and unspecific.
I still didn't mind it because I did feel like those moments did carry me through. Like the eating paper. I really did laugh a lot when the first time they reveal a complaint to her and she says, "No, that's impossible." Just like,
Yeah.
it was so funny.
All of that stuff was really, really fun. I loved all of the stuff for the present day stuff. And I see why they have to have the video or why they felt like they had to have the video. But yeah, it just felt like I guess I would be curious about like what a more live version of that would look like. Um,
You could just show pictures of her doing
yeah,
stuff.
that's true.
When she was on the waiting to pee until all night, maybe I was just like too triggered from potty training, but I was just like, I don't have time for this sketch.
That's completely fair.
Get me back to the fun bit.
Yeah.
I
I think seeing her try to like scooch out of the door while pretending to have fainted, that was delightful. Like I think what I'll say to this sketch is that it just did not. This is a great, again, the teachable moment here. I think is like you have an actor who is so strong and so funny. Set yourself up to actually play their strengths, right? And like it's just played specifics around them. Like all the specific stuff that happened was great with her. But then again, just the generic like I'm going to throw stuff around their stoop, just like didn't really feel like it paid off that much to me. But yeah, I don't know. What other things that stood out about this one? I feel like that was like it's fun to watch somebody be physically uncooperative too. Like that's a fun thing to watch, you know, like like you said, the stuffing the paper, all of that. But yeah, it just like I felt like a solid half of the sketch was just a little like yeah, just didn't really benefit from us seeing anything.
To me,
Yeah,
maybe if you're
yeah.
looking for like a teachable thing for this too, if you're going to have a live sketch with a video element, which comes up, from time to time, like I think the video element either should be like this quick thing, like to serve the premise of the sketch, or like itself has to be like very worthwhile and funny. And to me, I was just thrown by having that be too long for a throwaway, but not funny enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that checks out. Should we move on to the weekend update characters? Okay, so first, redhead who just went on vacation. Madeline, I think you like winced a little bit, so let's just jump in.
I thought this character, I was really like rooting for this to work. I really like Ben. I think it was a good effort, but like the audience was like did not get on board at all right away, and then after the reveal of the horrible tan line, it was just completely unsurprising, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else you would have done with it, though.
Yeah, it feels like maybe a little bit of a small idea.
I think it's maybe too much about someone's physicality. Like, I guess he needed some additional point of view about like who he was. I assumed he was going to be like high status and wealthy kind of thing. Because what did they label him as? Was it just redhead who went on vacation?
Oh yeah, redhead who just came back from vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, he needed like some other point of view about traveling or something.
Yeah.
Because just being easily sunburned, I don't think is enough.
Yeah.
I didn't love this one. It it I thought it could be interesting, but even as I try to think about the things that could make it more fun, I can't think of a thing that would, move it or like find the good jokes for it. Maybe like if he just like really doubled down on like how much he loves to be burned or like
Yeah.
how much of a souvenir it is, or I don't know.
This is a sketch where, like, I think it reminds me of there was a sketch we talked about in the past where it's like, yeah, this is like the point of view could just have been something to play, but like the actual characteristic itself just felt like a little tired. And I do think that when they brought out the chorus of the sunburned kids, that was a little bit of an oh my god they admit it moment for me, where I was like, yeah, there's just not much more to do here. So like this is there's this sure why not, yeah, that to me felt like one of those kind of classic moments of like, okay, we're all on the same page. We all agree that there's just not much else. Like, I'm sure there are people who watch a sketch and were like, oh yeah, that's like me on vacation. um, I get sunburned. And that's fine, but it's just like isn't super meaty or juicy. So anyway, that was sort of my thought for that one. The next weekend update character was the drunk raccoon. So let's chat about this one. Things that stood out to you, ups, downs.
I had a fun time watching this one.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good merging of drunk girl and raccoon stuff. Yeah, I thought this was fun. I like the DoorDash joke that was in there also. That was very gross but fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that this is a good example of like when you have a character that's based on a real life thing, like extracting the thing that feels true about it and like heightening that is really fruitful. So like in this case, like the fact of like it feels like they found something honest about the character of the raccoon that did this. You know what I mean? Like there's something fun about like, yeah, if this is true, then like what would it look like to kind of have this like dirtbag like character just sort of like explored in this way? I feel like there's something really fun about that. Yeah. So yeah, I think that there's like I guess I'm curious to hear like this to me feels like an example of a character sketch that actually was like pretty solid and goofy, but also still structurally very nicely contained. So yeah, I felt like this was a pretty fun one to watch, and a good example of like finding a character out of a characteristic that's defined in real life.
And just the right, like it's the perfect amount of character for the length of time. Like there's like that couldn't have been a whole sketch, I don't think, by itself. Well, maybe it could have.
Maybe, but it felt just right. It's like it felt we knew exactly what we were in for. In, out, fun, a really fun performance too. Like that was really fun. Great specifics. Yeah, I like this one. I felt good about it. It was fun to see. Phew. All right, should we do the next one then? The mom hangout, the truth or dare. Mom's playing truth or dare. I'm excited to chat about this one. Okay, yeah, let's hear thoughts on this one.
Okay. I think we got ahead of this one too. I thought for a little while I don't know, I was a little disappointed that it couldn't be Suburban Ladies with Melissa McCarthy being insane. Is kind of what I felt.
When it wasn't her character, it was so disappointing, right? It was just
right?
Oh man.
Like I thought we were setting up like that one where it's like the Suburban Ladies having that wine club, and then Melissa McCarthy's vision board says that she wants to find the man who killed her father. I thought that's what we were setting up. I was like, we're great. We lucked into something to let Melissa do her thing, but it was not that.
Yeah. It was a long setup.
Also,
very long. Yeah.
Like, okay, we can't show the women doing those things. So part of the game is going to be having them leave, doing the interesting thing off screen, and then coming back. And I get that there's like the way in which you're doing that setup of like, do you want to go kiss in the closet with me? Yes, very calmly is like, okay, that's what the joke of it is. But still, you're seeing, like, then you're going away. The funny thing is leaving. And that's so small as impossible to heighten, and no one was gonna do it funnier than Melissa McCarthy. So then every other beat was disappointing. Yeah, it was a sketch that like kind of did work on paper, but everything about the performance and setup of it, or not that it worked on paper, but it had beats that were legible.
Right.
Sorry.
Rituals.
But it
Sure.
was never gonna work.
I think it was like an interesting thing that like moved a little slow. It moved a little slow. And I think that was what was interesting to me about this was like it was fun to have the like truth or dare, but that plays out in terms of like the truths are all like mundane questions about suburban life. Like I feel like they were sort of there was something about the sketch that didn't work for me, but something about it that did. Like I thought it was really fun to fluctuate between those two things in a way that I wouldn't usually think. But it then it also and I liked that they didn't really have a voice of reason character in this, but there was something about the whole sketch that just felt like um it almost felt like ice skating to me or something like that. Like it felt like there was something that like could but like it felt like a little bit of a clunky ice skating routine, and I feel like there could have been a zippier version of it that was just like a little more fun. But I think you're right, Madeline, that like everything so much of what was happening is like them coming back. Like that is the fun part. And the sub game was like stronger than many sub games, but still not quite funny.
The sub game of the normal
Of like the
truths.
truth, like what's
Yeah.
it like driving this van or something like that, whatever, right? Like, so I kind of liked this one. I was glad that it was in it. Like, I thought it was fun to watch. Again, I liked that that there was no voice of reason character. Um, it felt like it was just like something was like holding it back a little bit, and I think there's a more explosive version of it, and like
It
more
did not heighten one iota.
not one iota. That's true. Because right, describing the sexual thing, the increasingly sexual thing that they're doing, is not actually a juicy heightening for an audience to experience.
It reminded me of the Hunting Wives sketch a little bit.
Yeah.
Which also I thought like was an almost, or it failed in kind of similar ways. Where like at some point it's just like, okay, yeah, these moms want to kiss. Cool.
Yeah.
That's not weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there is something about this one that felt like a little odd. It felt like kind of like it felt interesting to me though. It didn't feel like an SNL sketch in a number of ways that I was like kind of intrigued by, but it just I liked the taste it was giving me, but I didn't feel like it didn't actually
The
do
more
this.
we're thinking about it, the more I'm like starting to be offended by it.
Oh, go on. That's really
Like,
interesting.
if there were moms and dads there, and it was like parents wanted to go. Do you know what I mean? There's something about it's like we're naughty lesbians, secret lesbians, in the same way the Hunting Wives thing is like making fun of that show for doing the same thing. It's like the thing that's actually funny about it is the way that they're not acknowledging that what they're doing is like more titillating than what's actually going on, right?
Right.
I wish there was some way to like I think that's the thing I'd try to heighten.
Right.
And the pattern that they had just wouldn't allow that in any way.
Yeah. I also do think that just the beginning could be cut so dramatically. Like it took so long to get there. But
yeah, I thought that was the game that they just boring dares was the game of it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe we're gonna watch 5 minutes of this.
Yeah.
And we didn't exactly, but
that's really funny. So here's a question that came in from Tom about that specifically about the sketch. From the Truth or Dare sketch, what are your thoughts on establishing and breaking patterns?
That pattern needed to be broken sooner.
Mm-hmm. Right, because that's where you were talking about like the lack of heightening. Yeah, sorry, Georgie, what were you going to say?
That doesn't like as I'm watching this, I'm like, well, I guess patterns aren't important because this was boring. Like I do think patterns are still important, but yeah, I agree that this one was not a good pattern. Or it was functionally good. It was
That's why I meant on paper. Like I was like, there was a pattern and they kept doing it, and that's good. But it just wasn't enticing enough.
Right. It's more like like what is the piece of the pattern that your audience is getting to laugh at? And it's like, if it's the points where it's pivoting from one way of being to another, then how are you setting yourself up for that?
And the pattern exists so that there's something to subvert so you can be surprising.
Yes.
Right? So it's like the pattern exists so you can try to surprise people. So if you're not using your pattern for surprise, then it's not a good pattern. And this wasn't a surprising enough. There weren't surprising enough moves away from this pattern. But maybe the game idea was just a little too small to begin with.
Yeah. I think that checks out to me. Awesome. Georgie, any other thoughts on that, or shall we move on to the next sketch?
Different pitch for this sketch.
Yeah, let's hear it.
A lady who wants to play Sexy Truth or Dare. And everybody's like, what's Sexy Truth or... It's just Truth or Dare. She's like, no, it's...
Yeah. That's really fun.
We go do little naughty things. What are you still
talking about? It's like the kids' version is Truth or Dare, but we're adults, so we play Sexy Truth or Dare.
I like that a lot. That feels like a little bit more... Right. That feels like more of an interesting character, like character thing than we're all just like really repressed or something like that. I guess I think that that makes sense to me. I like that a lot. Georgie, I think you should write that sketch.
Get hard on it. This is solid.
All right, we got 3 more. There's first the guy who's so into Sunday supper and is embarrassed that nobody else gets excited about Sunday supper. I just kind of got a little tired of this. I thought that this one was like, again, like structurally totally fine, but the idea didn't really get me going that much. That was just my take. What are you guys' thoughts? I think it also just hung on the term Sunday supper. I think that probably is where the meat of the idea came from. Just liking that term.
I'm sure that this one was structurally sound. Wasn't it? I feel like there was like, I'm not sure that I could pinpoint the game of it.
He got the bundle.
Yeah.
I thought a character I would have liked better is like, when Guy gets upset, he gets his bundle and leave.
Yeah.
I wrote that down together. A guy who every time he gets upset, he's like, "I'm running away."
Yeah.
I didn't even mind the Sunday supper thing, but it still felt like a half pitch to me.
Yeah.
Like, Guy wants Sunday supper to happen, and I think if I was directing that, I'd be like, okay, but like, why?
Right. My hunch for this one is it's either like the term Sunday supper was just like the thing that got people going, or alternatively, someone was like, you know how people say like, oh, we should do this more often. What if blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm assuming that's maybe really where it came from.
I think that's where it was like the thing we should all do this all the time. And then like a person who thinks that's generally possible, like coming to terms with the idea that it's not and just being completely shattered by it. I would have loved to see that guy just be shattered. Like, I had all these hopes and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess nothing is possible anymore.
Yeah.
Just like, like cashing in his IRA or whatever. Cause he's like, we can't do Sunday supper. So like nothing is real. Everything is dead.
Cause you could have gotten a little more juice out of him being like, walk me through your schedule. Like, I know you don't want a lot of that, but you could have gotten a little more out of that. And then the utter devastation could have been the next amount of heightening.
I wonder if like it was also maybe a too many characters problem as well, or something like that. Like, it just felt like there was just like a lot of, I don't know, like a lot of nothing, kind of happening to me in this one. To me, it's just
like the Sunday supper thing, right? That like not being able to like do Sunday supper. Then the guy who reacts to devastation or like bad news by running away is what it first starts as. But then he also like does the gasoline pouring on himself, which
that move was a bummer.
Yeah. It's like
because it wasn't grounded in anything that had been established already. It was just a random big move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the Bindle guy or the... Yeah, I didn't.
Also, I think Andrew Dismukes is like pretty funny and has good ideas. But why is he doing a character when Melissa McCarthy is there? I'll say it again.
Totally. Yeah, that was surprising. I felt like she was kind of underused in this sketch.
Like, on some level, the weird thing is always going to be Melissa McCarthy not being the funny one, which is throwing everything off.
Right. The game of the sketch was a meta game of Melissa McCarthy being actually, well, that makes me think of oh my gosh, the I can't get no satisfaction sketch. Or no, the Mick Jagger, the Mick Jagger sketch a while ago, which we should talk about on another occasion. It's not really worth talking about here. But basically, yeah, anyway, we can set that aside. But yeah, basically, I feel like this one just felt like a little small potatoes. And I think that you're right that there's a version of it. It felt small potatoes, and then it felt like there was this big gasoline move. And I just think it felt a little bit like, I don't know, there's just like something more interesting to create out of it than.
It just was also honed in on, I think. Like there was like a lot of like, it was like 4 things that you could have potentially done.
Yeah.
I think in this sketch.
I vote Bindle Guy.
Yeah. I think Bindle Guy. I think Bindle Guy is
absolutely shattered guy. Just like,
yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah. All right, should we move on to the next one? This was the Cousin Planet video. Yes. Thoughts on this one?
I like the observation of being like, cousins go somewhere else when they're not with me during the holidays. That's a fun observation.
Yes, agreed.
I'm not sure I'm young enough to comment on the rest of this.
My problem, honestly, my frustration with this was like, I think that this should have been produced like an actual, like the way other music videos. Why was it produced in this like?
I thought that if there is a comp for this, maybe I haven't seen a comp for this, but if it's just a music video parody, I could not find the comp of it, and I didn't like. So you can't get those like tropey moves on it like that. You know, the music video where daughters go back to their parents' house for Thanksgiving, and they're like there's like very tropey moves in there, like when Lindsay Jones like does the brat break or whatever. Like I didn't know what the tropey moves of the genre were for this.
Totally. I would have just loved to see this being a more straightforward music video. Like, cause I think it is such a fun, the observation is so funny, but like why, I wasn't sure why it was in this cause it made it feel like the characters were making up the production of it. And that just felt like an element that should have been lifted out of it entirely. Cause the whole fun of seeing a music video is like the choice of the thing that is being music videofied is unusual, right? Like that's like it's like in addition to it being a funny observation, ideally, it's like, oh, there shouldn't really be a song and a flashy music video about this. And that it was just like, oh yeah, it seems like a bunch of people like made a music video about this small thing. So anyway, it just felt like it was really falling short, but in a way that was specifically about the production of it, which is very unusual. I feel like that is usually not the issue with the Saturday Night Live sketch.
I just really could not tell why they made the choice to make it look like that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if people have insights.
I think maybe we're out of touch on this one, guys.
You think so?
I mean, like any music video from like modern stars does not look like this. And if it's like a TikTok version of something, it's like not going to be this long, which is I think is another like I want it's like it feels like shitty MySpace or like is the parody of it.
Yeah, I think if you're watching this and you have insight into what we're missing, please let us know because I really was kind of puzzled by this one. I have to say, I was like, it feels like such a weird choice. But maybe Madeline, maybe you're right. Maybe this is a reference to something I don't understand. But like, I kind of think it's just a weird choice. I think it was just a weird choice to me. That's like
if it is just a weird choice, then I kind of like it.
Oh yeah, okay, interesting.
But only because it's weird. So that's really just taste.
I feel like it undercuts like the unusual thing to me, but that's totally fair. Each his own. This is part of the beauty of it. Sketch is subjective too.
I don't know why they had to be rapping. I'm always anti-rap. If it's white people not rapping, that's better. So I didn't like that it was rapping.
Yeah, that's totally fair. We have one last sketch to discuss, and then we have a couple of questions by way of Instagram. But first, this is the Christmas couple sketch, the tour of their holiday collection. Yeah.
I couldn't find something to latch on to this one.
Yeah.
It was truly strange.
It was really bizarre. It was really bizarre.
I could not name the game of it, I don't think.
No, I was trying to. I was like, couple with eclectic holiday, but then it felt like every time I was trying to latch onto it, it would like slip away and then be like something else.
Yeah.
But not in a way that felt like fun on a moment by moment basis. Like it felt very much like we were watching people fumble, like but not in a like the performances were fine, but it just felt so disconnected from anything. Like I really just wasn't sure what to latch into almost at all for this one.
That one maybe felt like they had the performances, but, like, not, like, the game for them or, like, not the place for them. Like, I
Yeah.
don't that's
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because
mm,
like, I feel like there's maybe a totally you could take, like, a couple that has this but it wasn't even the most eclectic collection of stuff either. Like, it's like, couple that has some sort of to be determined specific thing going on with their holiday collections, but, but yeah, maybe in some other way, but it felt yeah, it felt very, hard to hold on to.
Also, just the even if you were trying to build up and this would be a whole separate game other than the holiday decor thing, which felt like a reference to some sub community that I'm not accessing totally, but though I don't think it was because it was all over the place and what the references to the decorations were. The people who made those props must have been so confused and done them so quickly.
Yeah.
Um, but the idea of like, even if you were leading up to the fact that like you are assuming they're a gay couple, but Melissa McCarthy is a woman in it, the unclarity of that was so unclear and bewildering because it's like Melissa McCarthy is a woman and she had clear like pierced ears in the sketch and that kept distracting me. Like even if that was it was not played clearly enough. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just every level of it was confusing.
Yeah, no, I think I think so too. I think it felt like yeah, it sort of just felt like it kinda crumbled a little. It made less and less sense as it went on, I think,
and
sort
it
of.
had, like, a couple of months where, like, oh, that like, I think you said this right, Marina, but, like, we're like, "Oh, I guess that's it," and then, like, it's not
No.
that. Like, they're when they were doing they're like, "This is the gingerbread apartment building where we just had somebody evicted for, like, ICE agents," or something like that, where I was like, "Oh, I guess it's people who are into Christmas, but, like, really evil," but then that was
Right,
dropped, like, immediately.
right.
Um,
Like, that because that feels like that could be pointing towards a genre of sketch where it's, like, people who are doing topical like, topical Christmas decorations, but it's all, like, really dark and dismal because things are a little dismal right now, like, maybe that's something but yeah, it felt I think that this is an interesting assignment that you could give students for this would be, like, come up with 6 games that are loosely inspired by this sketch, but that are more specific and that, like, are actual, like, real like, have, like, heightenable games. But yeah, this one I think was a little this one I really was like, I really don't have much to say about this one because it just felt like not even quite a half idea. Like, it was just really amorphous, I think.
I can't even really imagine what it was meant to be,
Yeah,
yeah.
which normally I can.
yeah. Maybe there's
And I
backstory to
also
this.
usually like the last slot sketches, like, those are
Yeah,
usually my faves, so
yeah.
Yeah.
it's very confusing to me.
Yeah, that's usually where they tuck the, like, weirder ones, but this one I think, yeah, it just didn't really pan out, but such is the nature of live performance, so I don't know. Shall we talk about a couple of questions that came in? Okay, so separate from this episode, we have 2 additional questions. So first, we have, between sketches, pilots, etcetera, how many writing projects do you juggle at a given time? This is a great question that's, like, hard to quantify. Georgie, should we start with you? You can as our honored guest.
Sure. Um, I think well, I probably, like, 3, but I wouldn't, like, call sketches a like, do you mean,
Mhm.
like, one-off sketches or, like, that's would not be
I
a
think it's, like
project?
I would say, like, kind of creative buckets, you know? Like, so I would say, like, sketch cram, for example, would fall into one bucket of creative activity, I would say.
Okay. I guess it's always, like, 3, but try like, 1 will have priority, have
Mhm.
dibs on stuff, especially if there's, like, a writers group or something that I have to turn in stuff to. I
Yeah,
would try to focus on 1 project for those deadlines, but still have the others 2 that I'm contributing to as I go
yeah,
on along.
yeah, totally. Madeline, how about you? What's your
When I'm in pilot writing mode, I'll be, like, primarily focusing on a pilot, but then I would almost always be having, like, a, sketch or live bucket of things that I'm writing for, and then also probably, like, a short story fiction type of thing I'm writing for, but now I'm writing pretty much just novels. So I have my novel and then my Substack, and I don't do anything else because with the novel, it's too big to be distracted by other stuff in a way where writing shorter things like pilots, it's easier to switch back and forth. But the novel, I think you really have to be locked in or you forget what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. For me, I think in addition to like working on the sketchbook, I am usually working on something with my writing partner, Nico. Hi, Nico. And in this case, we're right now we're promoting a film in a festival run that we finished called This Will Never Work, and you should check it out. And then we're also working on some pitches for new films that we're going to write as well. So I guess, and then sometimes there will be like a little bit of short story writing or something on the side. I will say though that like I find it hard to balance I find it hard to like deliver unless I actually have a deadline. Like Georgie was saying, like anything that has a deadline kind of gets priority. I will also encourage people, if you ever have the chance to do a residency or something where you get to really just focus on one specific thing, it's a really cool it's a really cool way to do that. So just keep your eyes open for writing residencies. There are some that are, a week long, a couple days long. You can kind of create a residency for yourself where you could just like focus exclusively on one thing. But I do think it's nice to give yourself the chance to just focus on one thing every once in a while and just see what happens there. Okay, and one more question that came in. Oh, sure, unless there's anything else to add. Cool. Okay, the last question is: students who want to write a boundary pushing sketch, is it okay in a classroom or should you find a new outlet?
I think it's okay in the classroom. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it in a classroom. Just be open to whatever feedback you get. That's all. I'm never annoyed at a sketch. I'm annoyed or it's inappropriate when a student does a boundary pushing sketch, receives the feedback and is like, well, you just don't get it.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's the part that's a problem.
Mhm.
It's okay to make mistakes in your writing.
Yeah.
It's just being open to the feedback. To me, that's the important thing.
Right. And being open to what kind of feedback too, because the feedback might be you make somebody really upset, And depending
Yeah.
on what you're writing, it kind of depends on, what boundary you are pushing or what boundary you think you're pushing too. Because I think that, like, if you're writing something about, like, a very personal experience that happened to you, but that other people might share, like, they might have different feelings about it. I think the thing that I always want people to be mindful of is when I think of it as, like, bargaining with somebody or gambling with somebody else's poker chips, where you're like, wow, this devastating sketch about, like, race that a white person wrote, like, is really going to be, like, fantastic. And, like, that I think is something that, like, I've definitely had students who are like, you just didn't get it. But it's like, well, you're writing something that is, like, not really from your experience. And like, yeah. So anyway, that's just something I think is important to be thoughtful about. But I agree that like, classes are a totally fine place as long as you're mindful of the fact that you are your fellow classmates are going to be reading it and they might have their own experiences and feelings about what you've written.
I think I've also had people who like come in and say like before the sketch is read, like I know this could be something, but just like I just wanted to hear what
Right.
the heck was. It's like they're giving a little bit of like I understand there could be problems for this.
Yeah. I think that having, I think, a little bit of humility and awareness, because I think that often I think the thing that's frustrating is when people are like, you, like what Madeline was saying, like, you don't see me and what I'm trying to do. But in doing that, they're really not seeing their classmates as full people who will have their own reactions and their own experiences. That I think is the thing to keep an eye out for, really.
And if you're someone who is like the only way I could see this being a problem in terms of like being open-minded about what people are around you is if you're writing a sketch being like, I'm bringing this in because I want to make people upset.
Yeah.
And that's the boundary you're pushing. It's like, that's
it's called an
do
edgelord.
something else. It's comedy.
Yeah.
Don't
that is weird.
get out of town. But if you have any other mindset other than that, I think it's okay to be open to hearing all ideas.
Yeah, totally. I think that all makes a lot of sense. I think that it's really just like be a thoughtful participant in a classroom setting and know that like you also like just like read the room a little bit too, you know, like if it feels like you're going to get good feedback out of it, great. And if it feels like you're not going to get, like, by good, I mean useful feedback. And if it feels like you're not going to get useful feedback by bringing it in, like maybe it's not the right space for it. I don't know.
I don't want to speak for all teachers, and I think at UCB sometimes you don't get email addresses, but that if you sent me a very short to the point email asking if that was okay before the class, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when in doubt, you can totally do that. But I think also just like be a reasonable person about it. And that's generally fine. I think that it is very annoying when a student is being like, is not having humility around it and it's just like, well, you just don't get it. Like that's like, that is a real pet peeve, I think, of mine. But more often than not, it's just like, yeah, it's, you know, you're in theory, you're probably still going to be having the same like structural conversations around your idea. So as long as the idea is something that can be discussed in a combination of structural terms, but also like the idea and point of view, then like that's really what that you're just going to talk about that in the class. So that's fine. Yeah. Awesome. Before we part ways, anything that either of you guys would like to plug? Any shows coming up, things that you're working on? Georgie, we'll start with you and then we'll go over to Madeline.
Sure. You can listen to my sketch podcast.
Yes.
These Were Humans.
So great.
Or sketch album right now, but yeah.
It's really fantastic.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Highly recommend everybody check out These Were Humans. Yes.
And you can check out my comedy fantasy.
Awesome.
Thank you. On
Yes.
Substack.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. It was so much fun to chat about this episode. And I can't wait to talk about more episodes in the future.
Thanks for having us, Marina.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Guys, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.